What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Breaker Bros. This is our instant reaction to the Bengals' 31-30 victory over the Steelers. And what a game, huh?
Yeah. Did you
Can you
say
hear me
good
fine?
game?
Yeah, so what a game. It was, I would feel like it
Yeah.
was a really good game to watch live.
Yeah, I thought the game was like well in control, and then that tight end walked into the end zone right in front of me. I couldn't believe it. But I guess the good thing at that point was there was enough time left that they could come back. But yeah, it was a wild game.
Yeah, because it kind of started out slow because I don't think they scored in the first quarter. And then once they started scoring in the second, it seemed like they basically scored every single possession, whether it was a touchdown or field goal, the rest of the
Yeah,
way.
yeah, it's weird. It's like Jamar Chase is pretty good.
Yeah, he had 23 targets, 168 yards, a touchdown. And I'd say the craziest part, I think, is his longest pass or catch was 18 yards. But it felt like overall they had a lot of explosive plays. To T. Higgins, Yosivash, that was a big play. I think that happened
Yeah,
in the fourth or late in the third.
yeah. I'm
And
glad he
then,
finally got a big one there.
and then I think Noah Fant got a big catch late in the game as well.
Yeah, and that touchdown was pretty nice.
Yeah, no, the offense looked really good. I felt like from my perspective, the offensive line blocked pretty well. I know they gave up 2 sacks, but I felt like there were a whole bunch of big holes on the offensive line, especially in the run game.
Yeah, you could see them moving off the line of scrimmage because I feel like a lot of the earlier games, like they were getting pushed into the backfield a lot, and like you could see like they were moving the defensive line out of the way. It was impressive.
Yeah, I felt like early on, especially in the first quarter, because if you watch the game through Amazon Prime, there's like a different view you can watch. There's like an all 22 view, which is actually pretty cool. I wish they
Yeah,
would do it with more games, but like early on, you could see like there was holes, and I felt like Chase Brown could have capitalized maybe earlier. Um, it felt like a lot of times he was just running into people instead of making cuts because I was like, man, early on you
yeah,
could really see the holes, and it seemed like they started off slow because they had a few mental mistakes. I felt like there was drops, but then once they
yeah. A
start to
few
click,
drops killed them.
yeah, but then once they started to click, it was like it didn't seem like the Steelers could stop them, and I felt like the Steelers have a pretty good defense. So for the Bengals to put up 33 points, I think that says a lot.
Yeah, because was it the first quarter where uh, like Flacco like dumped it off to Chase Brown when they like sent him like a lot of, I don't know, it was like a zero blitz, but like they had a lot of guys blitzing, and he like dropped it, but like
Yeah.
from where I was sitting, it looked like if he would have caught that, he could have walked into the end zone almost.
Yeah, with his speed, I mean that should have been a really big play, but yeah, I think it was just one of those things where I think on some of the drops, especially the last couple of games, you can tell, Flacco still puts a lot of velocity on the ball, and I guess they're still not like used to it. Because yeah, obviously they should make these catches, but you could tell he throws a little bit harder than Burrow or Browning. But no, yeah,
Yeah,
if he would have caught that should have been a pretty big gain. But also DJ Turner, like they're on the broadcast, they're saying like he's playing at an all pro level. He had that insane pick.
yeah,
He had a
that
few
pick was
more.
amazing.
Yeah, in credit to Stone, I know he kind of in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter, it didn't seem like he was playing that well, but I think he kind of contributed to that pick because as Turner was pulling the ball, he was hitting what's his name, their receiver, at the same time while he's pulling it.
Metcalf.
And yeah, Metcalf. And I think had he not done that, then I don't think
Yeah, it might have even been a catch if he wouldn't have hit him.
possible. Yeah, no, it was an amazing play. I mean,
Yeah, and I feel like that must have been they must have tricked Rodgers on that because he was clearly doubled on that. I don't know if he just thought he could fit it in there or if he was fooled, but I was surprised he even threw the ball.
Well, even on the second pick, oh my gosh, by not Turner, but Battle.
Mm-hmm.
I think Turner could also had a second pick on that one too, but Turner kind of cut him off. And I'm not sure how the people felt like in the stands, but again, I don't understand the down by contact because it seemed like he got touched while he was still trying to complete the catch, right?
Yeah, I mean, they showed one view where it looked like he tapped him on the helmet, is what
Oh,
everybody
okay.
around me was saying. Because
Okay,
like
well, I
they
didn't see
had
that.
one view on the opposite side of his body where it looked like he didn't touch him, but
Yeah.
then on the other side it looked like he might have tapped his helmet.
Yeah, so pretty much the broadcast I was watching, it was always the sideline that was closest, and I couldn't really see where he got tagged while he was actually making the catch. But yeah, I mean, if he hit his helmet, then yeah, that might be a little bit different.
Yeah, yeah, but I think they scored on that anyway. So I mean, it seemed bigger than it was, but they went down and scored, right?
Yeah. I mean, really, the only flaw that I've seen in I guess shout out to Zach Taylor because I felt like he played or he called a really good game because even in the first quarter there was opportunities they just had those drops and maybe some misplays or whatever but yeah no I feel like um the offense really showed out. It was really nice to see. So I think they're going to get a lot of confidence from this. But then it was kind of ominous. At the beginning of the game, they interviewed Flacco, and he basically said, with AFC North games, you got to play the full 60 minutes. And that was basically the game, or tonight's game. It went down to the end of the game, and Flacco comes out with a game-winning drive in the fourth quarter. But yeah, it didn't seem like the Steelers could stop him after the second quarter. It seemed like the Bengals had all the confidence in the world, and um, the drive where they kind of stalled in the fourth quarter. Uh, I was getting kind of worried that they would lose the momentum, but
Yeah.
they came back and on that last drive, man. I was even thinking T could have scored, and that might have been better, but I guess he did the right thing by going down. That way
Yeah,
they
I
can.
mean, I think that's the right thing, clockwise. I mean, unless maybe you go for two, then the worst that happens is they tie, right? Because if you score, that puts you up by 5, and then if you kick the extra point, you go up by 6. So then if he scored, maybe you go for 2. But yeah, I think you got to play the clock. Um, I mean, I think last year McPherson missed a kick to win a game at the beginning of the season, but I mean, it looks like he's back to the way he used to be. So, I mean, you gotta. That's why they pay him. So I guess you got to do it.
Yeah, no, I was kind of worried because it's like this is the type of play that the Bengals kind of mess up,
Oh
like
yeah,
something on the
I
snap or
mean,
something.
you could feel it, or I felt it in the stands. Everybody was really clenched up at that moment, but after he made it, everybody was pretty happy. I mean, it was like the feel of the crowd was like everybody was just like relieved that we won. Sort of like there's still something to play for this year because so far it's been a lot of suck.
Well, yeah, I mean, looking forward, the Bengals have 2 more home games before they go into the bye, and they play the Jets and the Bears. So there's pretty good potential that they could be 5-4 going into the bye, and then they play the Steelers coming out of the bye.
Yeah,
So at that point, if they win, then they could potentially be number 1 in the division again. But again, they're 2-0 in the division. That's another big
yeah,
thing about the night.
yeah.
Because
It's
I
like a
mean,
reverse of last year.
yeah, no, I mean, somehow, if they can continue the streak, and I know it's a lot to ask to go undefeated in the division, but I think that would go a long ways, especially towards the end of the year, because I think a lot of the teams are going to be closer to 500 with their
Yeah.
records. So, it really is going to come down to who's got the best AFC North record.
Do you think like with Flacco going under center as much as he did this game that they'll be able to convince Burrow to do more of that? Because it seems like that kind of helped with a lot of things, with the run game and with throwing those quick passes.
Yeah, I think there's great potential of that. And I actually kind of thought of something that you said, after we heard the news that Flacco was traded to the Bengals from the Browns. You said that, Burrow could probably learn something from Flacco, and I felt like some of the things that Flacco did in this game where, he checked, into certain plays, because they were really abusing like Chase doing like those quick slants and like
Yeah.
comeback routes, because they were either playing too soft or they were trying to overcompensate on the run. So every time they had like 7 in the box or whatever, or maybe 8, that's when they would do like a slant to Chase or whatever, and they kind of kept him in check. So yeah, that's why I kind of felt like Zach, he really called a really good game in terms of play calls, because it seemed like the offense knew what the Steelers were doing, but also on the broadcast I was watching, because they do like the analytics. And this is something that we were talking about earlier in the year. There is something about the other teams knowing the Bengals cadence.
Yeah.
I guess it's even more obvious with Flacco since he's still learning the offense.
Yeah.
But they said this is, at least in the first half, is what they said for the Steelers. It was their fastest get off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like because like they do all these different analytics, and they'll like say them throughout the broadcast, and they were saying like this is the fastest game for the Steelers so far this season, and they're contributing it to like, well, they obviously know the cadence, and it's probably even more obvious with Flacco since, like I said, he doesn't really know the full offense yet, and he even said after the game when they interviewed him that like there was a lot of play calls where he didn't still fully understand. He's still trying to figure everything out, because on that zone read where he ran it for a first down.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, that was a broken play. Like that wasn't called or anything. It was just, yeah.
Could you hear people? Could you hear the crowd chanting Flacco during the broadcast?
Yeah. Oh, that was another thing. I feel like the crowd really showed out today. And shout out for you and your buddy for going to the game. Makes a big difference, because that was one of the things I was worried about.
Ryan was a lot louder than me. I haven't been out in the wild in so long. I was like thrown off by all the drunks behind me. People just kept slapping me.
Yeah, no, I think it's part of the Flacco effect. I think people knew that deep down that the Bengals had a shot to win this game, and everyone showed out. I was kind of worried because when they tried to do the Stripe the Jungle, it seemed like a lot of Detroit fans showed up and kind of messed that up. But even on the broadcast, they said that the crowd was loud, affecting a few plays, and then. But yeah, they also mentioned, it's like you could barely see any Steeler fans.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to a few games against Steelers, and this was probably the least amount of Steelers fans at a game. I don't know if it's. I mean, I think Ryan was saying it was like maybe it's because it was a Thursday night game. It's kind of hard to travel for that. But yeah, it was like a very heavily Bengals crowd. I mean,
that's a possibility, but I feel like there's
with. I don't know if I've been to a game, a Bengals game with less opposing teams fans. There always seems to be. I mean, because it's the NFL, right? Like people, travel to games. But it seemed pretty light in terms of Browns or. In terms of Steelers fans. No Browns fans either.
I still feel like there's a lot of Steelers fans in Cincinnati in general. Especially when I was growing up in Cincinnati, it felt like there's still a lot of Steelers fans for whatever reason. I guess because they've always technically been good for the most part. So I don't know. I think there is a lot of optimism, and especially with a game like this, it kind of felt like a playoff game. I mean, the Steelers is a quality team. They beat some good teams, and I felt like their defense going into this game was, playing at a really high level. I think they said the last 3 games they had 15 sacks, and they kind of started fast too. Yeah, because I think on the Bengals' first drive, I'm not sure. I think they went 3 and out, right? Or no, they got a first down, but they had a punt. But I think there was
a little bit.
Yeah, because he had a really nice pass to T. Higgins, I think, because Higgins did like an in route or something like that for 15 yards. But yeah, that was another thing I noticed throughout the game. There was a lot of chunk plays, kind of like what we're used to. And if they can continue that, I mean, I feel like they can play well against any defense. It's when you have those type of plays, it puts everything off balance. They can't be as aggressive. Um, but yeah, it was weird because it feels like a lot of, especially with the AFC North games, it feels like they tend to scout a little bit better. But I feel like this game, it felt like, especially on offense, like it felt like they really knew what they were doing, or they knew what the Steelers defense was doing, and they had a really good game plan going into this week.
Yeah, I mean Flacco's played against the Steelers a lot, so
I
that
think they
is
said
the big
26
advantage.
times.
That's a big advantage of getting him, is like he has so much experience against. I mean, now I mean, has a lot of experience against the Steelers, a lot against the Browns. He played for the Browns and the Ravens, so he's got to know a lot about those teams that we need to beat. It's kind of a, I mean, it feels pretty lucky to have him at this point.
Yeah, I think that's another little storyline later into the year when they start playing the Ravens. That I guess that was another big announcement. I'm not sure if they showed it there at the stadium, but they did announce that Burrow is on track to be back mid-December. That's kind of like what they're expecting. But I think they play the Ravens twice before mid-December. So, but I think the storyline is Flacco playing the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. I think that happened maybe 2 years ago when he was on the Browns, but I feel like this game's gonna feel a little bit more different because I feel like by then too the Ravens are gonna be back in it. I know they're 1-5 now, but Lamar Jackson's gonna be coming back, so I expect him to be kind of in the thick of things, or at least still fighting for their lives at that point. So it should be a really good game down the road, but yeah, no, this is exciting. It's nice to see the offense actually doing something. Hopefully the spread changes a little bit.
I don't care about the spread.
Well, I just think it's wild because, I mean, yeah, I guess they did have a few blowouts in a row or some lopsided losses, but I don't know. Because I kind of felt like the Ravens were in the same boat, but their spread wasn't as bad, even with the who's their backup quarterback? I forget.
Cooper Rush, maybe.
Yeah. Even with him playing, and it seems like since he's been starting, they've been getting blown out too. So I don't know why they think it's going to be any better for the Ravens. So,
well, I mean, the offensive line looked a lot better this week. So
last couple of weeks, really.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think they even were okay with Browning, but Browning didn't do much with it.
Yeah, because I've noticed there are some pretty good pockets, and it feels like Flacco is very similar in Burrow, where he's got really good pocket feel, and he kind of manipulate it a little bit just by stepping up and not being so quick.
I just feel like Flacco just gets rid of the ball so much faster than any Bengals quarterback that's played for Zach Taylor. He just he makes quick decisions, which helps a ton.
Yeah. I mean, I think part of it too, since he played the Steelers so much, he probably seen it all from their perspective, and has a pretty good idea what they like to do. I mean, I feel like the Steelers have always had the same, I don't know, mentality for the last 30 years. It's have a really talented defense, have a strong rush game, or at least try to. I know it hasn't been as good this year for them, but it's kind of always been their thing. And really, even with the 2 picks for Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he didn't really play bad, but obviously the 2 turnovers was pretty much what cost them the game. They just 2 points. But yeah, they had just seemed like for the most part the defense, kind of stopped them, but they just had those big plays, especially in the second half.
Well, even those running plays were ridiculous. They just toss it out to the right. It was like a high school game. Just toss it out to the right, and the guy runs 40 yards.
And
so much in the NFL.
They were starting to miss tackles again a little bit. He was starting to break through. It was, I was like, oh man, something about the defense kind of breaks down in the second half. But I mean, Well, I can't really say because I feel like their rushing game kind of opened more or opened up a little bit more in the second half because I feel like in the first half the Bengals had a better rushing attack, or at least seemed like in the second half they were just so confident in throwing that they just did it. Like they kept on checking into throws.
Yeah.
Because that second to last series, I kind of wanted them to run a little bit more.
It was very weird because it was like they threw it. It was kind of cute, and then they had that broken play, I guess, and it worked out, and it felt like okay, they're going to win. And then they threw it again. You know, it was just like they should have ran it again.
Yeah,
Or I don't know. Like they took that big sack. It was just didn't feel right, but I guess hindsight.
only thing I can say about it, it kind of worked out because when the Steelers got the ball back, and it looked like the Bengals were going to stop him again because I think they scored a touchdown and it was like 2nd and 20 because they had like a holding call. But they scored so quickly that I was like, man, I think that's more than enough time for the Bengals just to get in field goal position, right?
Yeah.
So, especially with 2 minutes and 2.5 minutes and 3 timeouts with the 2-minute warning. I was still fairly confident that they were going to get in field goal position at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think right after they scored that big touchdown, I thought, well, the worst thing that could happen is they would have scored that touchdown and used up all the time. So at least it's like you're only down by 1, but you have enough time to get a field goal. And right, I mean, who would you rather? I mean, Ryan was like, well, I'd rather have the ball last instead of, trying to defend, right?
Yeah, I mean, especially with we know how the defense has been the last couple of years. They know how to give up those touchdowns late quickly. So I mean, it literally just happened. So totally understandable. Very less likely to try to win it with only 3 or 5 seconds. I was kind of surprised that they did that check down first because I was thinking like my biggest worry was that they didn't have to go for like a Hail Mary touchdown. What I was thinking that what they might do is just go for like a 40-yard pass and towards the sideline and just get into field goal position.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, man, like
that pass did surprise me. It didn't seem like it was worth it, but
yeah, but
glad they did it.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. And then I feel like early on too, I think it was like the Steelers' second offensive series. Like I had a feeling that the Bengals were going to win after that series because they got too cute with it, and I thought that was kind of interesting, even when they were up like I think it was 10-0 at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking like, why are they doing that? It's like if you're
winning their little flea flicker thing.
Yeah, well, it was, but then there was something else that happened, like they had an incompletion or something to that extent, or no, I think they tried to do like a screen and they lost another couple of yards.
Yeah, I remember the screen.
Yeah, and I was thinking, why are they doing? But it got me thinking.
To the tight end, was that the one?
Yeah, it's probably right because I feel like they did that like 20 different times throughout the game. Yeah, they threw a lot of screens to the tight ends. I know that. Or I guess even to Metcalf, I feel like he had a few.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they must have also. I mean, towards the end of the game, I bet you the screens would have worked with the way they started tackling. I mean, they were whiffing.
Yeah. It's weird because it felt like the defense played good, but then ultimately not that good because they gave up 31 points. But they
right. Well, some of those plays were pretty bad.
Yeah, because like the 68-yard touchdown to Freiermuth, like don't get me wrong, I'm sure he's talented, but we should not be giving up that type of touchdown to Freiermuth. Like, come on.
Right. Yeah.
And then Metcalf had that early catch. Seemed like they
just in that situation too, right? Because like that's part of the game where you're like, well, as long as they don't score quick, right? Like you don't want to give up the big play and make it easy, and they just give you're protecting a 6-point lead and you give up a touchdown on like a second down is just crazy. That's all right. Let's not dwell on the negative. It was big win.
Well, Well, I would say the biggest negative was, it didn't feel like we have any pass rush without Trey. But I mean, to win this type of game, and I'm glad that McPherson got that game-winning field goal. I know it wasn't like the toughest field goal, but it still adds to the confidence to be able to close out a game like that.
Yeah.
But overall, it was a great victory. I mean, Steelers aren't the worst team in the world. They're playing really good and had a lot of confidence coming into this game. So, and weren't they coming off a bye? I think they were, right?
I don't think so.
Okay, never mind. I think that would be too much of an advantage. I don't know why I'm thinking that, because
I think they had a home game.
Yeah, that's got to be right, because I don't think they would give a team that much of an advantage. Because then they would have like a week and a half to prepare, to where the one team or the Bengals would have like 3 games or 3 days.
Yeah, that would be pretty unfair, but it is the NFL.
Yeah, I can't really put them past the NFL, really. But yeah, no, I mean, this keeps the season alive, and this kind of shows that they're capable to be in a playoff team. I know there's still a lot of games to play, but the Steelers are a pretty good team, and they handled business at home. And it didn't seem like a lot of the analysts had that much confidence in the Bengals. I think most of them picked the Steelers. So it's a nice victory.
Yeah, felt good.
Yep. All right. I mean, is there anything you want to add to this, the reaction, or?
No, I think I'm good, man. I'll let you close it out, and then I might give you a call on the ride home, though.
All right.
All right. Thanks, man. Catch you later.
All right. See ya.